You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, King Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Beauty and the Beast After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Beauty and the Beast After Show.
Yay, we're back. Well, welcome, AFTERBUZZ TV fans. I'm Alikona Bradford. Bing is for doing, and after a long hiatus, my co-hosts, Paige and Anik, are doing Beauty and the Beast just for you. And before we get started, I have two really big announcements. First of all, obviously, we have a new co-host.
Hello.
She's also on a couple. What other show are you doing?
The Carrie Diaries.
Ah, so you can catch her there as well. And then my other big announcement. You ready?
What is it?
It's gonna be Paige's birthday on Saturday. What? So tweet her, send her some love.
Send me love.
Yay.
So it's not just my parents. No.
Aw. Okay, so let's get in the show because it was a really juicy show. There was so much going on. Recap. We had to do a recap. I'm sure if you guys watched it, where we left off, Kat was laying in the middle of the road. Vince had her in her arms, and then here comes Evan. I'm like, oh, great. Here comes Evan. But, you know, surprisingly, he saved her life and he did this complicated surgical procedure with precision, might I add, and saved her life. So going into that, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit because the nurse had mentioned, was it the nurse? She mentioned, a couple other people mentioned how great he did as far as somebody has to be pretty
Talented to do that.
Yeah, and so I feel like he's got some skeletons in his closet.
I agree. Well, we were talking about that. At first, I wasn't thinking that. I thought, oh, you know, I mean, he must have had to go to some kind of medical school and gone through the basic training of medicine.
Right.
I'm sure to even practice on, you know, in the morgue. But the more it got brought up, and the only time it really hinted to me that it was something he didn't want to talk about was when he said it to Kat. He said, it's for another time. It's not for right now. We're not going to talk about it right now. So it makes it seem like maybe he did pursue that career and it just something happened. And maybe my opinion was that he did something bad. And so it's easier to work on dead people.
I think there was some sort of emotional scar there. I mean, possibly he messed something up, but I don't know. It's something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what.
Well,
It's weird.
he can't kill dead people.
This is
so
true.
maybe
This
he
is
ended
true.
up, you know, making a mistake, and that person.
But he had no hesitation when it came to saving Kat's life.
No, not at all.
So, so maybe it's not that he made a mistake in medicine. Maybe something in his life happened, or you know, something became too much for him. Because I feel like somebody who had hurt somebody in the past practicing medicine would not have been that quick to jump and say, "Get me this, get me that," and just jab her in the chest.
Right.
Very true.
It's weird, but I do think it's a plot that's developing.
Right. Well, I mean, going into all that, let's talk about Kat being in the hospital when she's actually there. And I already knew right away, just because, you know, I did a little research, who Alex was before she even said her name. But when she walked in and she was actually Catherine's nurse, I was like, really?
Yeah.
Like, producers? Talk about twists right there. Like, what are the odds?
Because we saw the previews of her him walking down the stairs and her seeing him, and so we here at AfterBuzz knew that who she was, and because we do our research, like Alikona said. But when I saw her in the room, I was like, oh, this is even more twisted than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just they were going to bump into each other in the hospital. I didn't really think their lives would become intertwined like the way they did. And it was kind of painful the way it happened.
Right. Seriously, what are the odds? Only on the CW.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, really?
Everything that happens is only on the CW.
Right. So basically, Alex is Kristen's nurse. I always call her Kristen. It's like Catherine. The two screw me up every single time. But yeah, and I thought it was interesting the timing of it. She leaves. Vincent shows up in the hospital, and of course they have the romantic moment. And she does her confession of, you know, I accept you for all that you are. And I'm like, I
know.
Tear. I was so excited. And then stupid Alex came along, and you can't even hate her because
It's not her
Yeah.
fault. I mean, she honestly thought her fiance was dead. Could you imagine that's the person you decided you were going to spend the rest of your life with? And she says, I threw dirt on your casket. You know, I thought you were dead. I mean, any widow or, you know, fiance who lost somebody, that's
huge.
It's hard to hate her, you know?
Right.
Like, I want to hate her, and I feel so bad for Kat right now, but how do you hate somebody who had just a bigger loss than Kat will have, you know? This girl spent her whole life with Vincent.
Right. So then tell me then, girls, if you were in that situation, do you hate him? Do you love him and miss him and you just welcome him with open arms? Like, how would you handle that situation?
I think, you know, girls, we know what we should do, but we never do that. You know, if you truly love somebody, it's so hard to walk away from that person, especially where he tells her, you know, I was in danger, you know, and she has to kind of believe him. Vincent wouldn't have been able to convince army officials to pretend he died.
Right.
You know, so it only makes sense that it was part of this kind of co-op mission. So why wouldn't she believe him? But it must really kind of sting that he didn't even reach out remotely to her.
Right.
Yeah.
I was really surprised at how quickly he opened up and just showed up in her car. I thought maybe he'd dodge her a little bit since he dodged her in the hospital. But as soon as Catherine brought her up, he was like, okay, just showed up in the car. Hey, it's me. Yeah, it's me.
I know.
Like, what?
That was like really fast.
Yes.
Because I was like you. I thought that he would like dodge her for a while and then, you know, but all of a sudden he's just there. He pops up.
I think that shows kind of what their relationship was like. I think he thought, you know, I have to address this now. She was somebody I cared about. I think it was something that he just felt was easy to do. I don't think he would have done it for anybody else if he hadn't, you know, he was engaged to her. He obviously trusts her very much.
Yeah, but okay, speaking of trust and feeling the need to just get it out there and talk to her, he got it out there and lied to her. It wasn't like, hey, this is what it is. Kat is my handler. And then he lies to Kat, which it was the first time we saw him be truly dishonest to the people he loved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he might have dodged some things here and there with JT for a good reason as far as maybe with Kat, but truly in a not deceitful and not malicious, because it wasn't like he was trying to hurt anybody, but obviously he was...
It was intentional. I mean, he purposely lied to them, both of them.
Yeah.
And I get why he did it. It's the whole Vincent is trying to protect the people he cares about. He didn't reach out to Alex to protect her. And I think that's why he's still lying to her, because if he tells her, I beast out, you know, how do you explain that?
Okay. Keep that for another conversation. But what about Catherine? No, she's just my handler. You care
when you
about
say
her.
she's a girl that I care about, but we don't address it because I'm a beast?
Well,
because that
no.
is what it is. That is what it is.
But he could at least be like, I have some feelings for her, not she's just some random cop that just,
I know.
you know, protects me or whatever like that.
He belittled both of them, though.
Yes.
You know, she was just a really good friend. I knew her my whole life. Oh, she's just my handler. It's like he's not committing to either of them. It's not like he talked down Kat and talked up Alex. He talked them both down to each other, like they were both nothing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But I'm like, way to do a man move. I'm a little disappointed. No offense, men, but I'm a little disappointed. Right. You were supposed to be my knight in shining beastly armor, and you just lied.
I know, but it's so hard to be mad at him because if you think about it, because in this show, he's the most honest. You know, Kat is lying to everybody all the time.
To protect him.
What is he doing? I think he thinks he's protecting them. I think he's being a stupid guy. But he thinks he's protecting them. I think I don't know, I'm not a boy, but I think that's what he's doing.
I can't wait to see it blow up in his face.
Yeah, well, I
it
think
just
it already
did.
had.
It did.
I already did. Well, okay, let's talk about this. The moment that Kat gets involved, because obviously, in a sense, I think she's taking the mature route. Being real, she didn't act out or anything like that, but she is now she's curious about Alex, but she's also protecting her. Because when she did find out information about somebody stalking her or what have you, she shows up at the house to help. But of course, she's being a little nosy, and she finds the letter that talks about their
marriage,
intent to get married, which... That broke my heart a little bit too.
Oh, you could see the chin thing, you know, when people's chins get all on your
quiver.
Yeah, it was hard to watch.
Yeah, and then Vincent shows up at the door, right? And I'm watching Kat because I would have done the same thing. I would have been like, real quiet, just listening, waiting to see if he kisses her, if he hugs her, what's going on. And obviously he doesn't. But how awkward you know, and they're just there. And he doesn't address the situation because, you know, how do you? And here's Alex, the only one who doesn't realize what's going on. So she's just innocently, you know, and your lovely friend she's here to help.
Yeah, I know.
Like, no, not really.
It's kind of painful to watch, and it kind of hurt my feelings the way he's letting Kat just sit there and take it and act like she's not anything more than a handler and somebody there to help. In this whole episode, first off, I thought it was a little far-fetched. I don't think we should have even gone into the stalker. I get why we did, to show that Vincent cares and to have the kiss, whatever, but I just thought it was kind of too much. There was already so much going on in this episode. It wasn't necessary to me to have that happening. I get that it brought the three of them together into this sort of love triangle, but it was just a little silly to me, I think. But it was hard to see her witnessing his love for her show through. You know, the way he looked at her, the way he had to get her. Yeah. That was hard for me because that's when it was registering to her. Yeah, they used to be engaged. Okay, a lot of people have exes, you know, and then it's like. But
they're not exes by choice, and that's exes, what makes it a little more complex.
Yeah, and you can see the heartbreak like in her face when she sees she has the heartbreak and he has the love, and it's just.
You know, I actually read something. It was an interview with Sherry Cooper, who's one of the producers of the show, and she was just saying how when they casted. Regan is Alex's real name. When they casted her and the first time they shot that together, she said her and the other producer were like, oh, F-bomb. Oh my God, look at the chemistry they have on screen. It's so genuine. And they're like, we did this perfectly as far as the casting. And even Kristen Crook was like, I'm kind of jealous. I don't mean to be, but I'm a little jealous right now because they just had so much natural chemistry.
More than her and Vincent, more than Kat and Vincent. It almost seems, you know, things are always pulling them apart, not drawing them together. Whereas this, it just seems easy and natural. And she's so happy to have him back in her life. It's crazy.
I think it wouldn't hurt so much if they didn't have so much chemistry.
Right.
You know, if they were just like, oh, it's just another actor, you know, and then they didn't have as much chemistry on screen as Kat and Vincent do. Right. Then it wouldn't be like, okay, whatever, you know. But they have so much chemistry that it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you think they have, I don't know, undeniable chemistry, let us know on iTunes. You can check us out there and download our podcast weekly. You can rate, comment. We love to read your comments. They're very helpful to us, especially a lot of you tell us about the old show and how it compares to the new show. So we love, you know, seeing what fans think about the show. So if you could rate, comment, tell a friend, just go to iTunes. It's very easy. And you can also check out our other shows. We're all on other shows too. So all AfterBuzz TV podcasts are there.
Yes. So I'm going to skip the story a little bit and just go into the kiss. And then I'm going to, Anik, tell me, okay, because I was shocked that they did it. First of all, the first encounter that we get of Alex, she's already kissing Vincent, and we've waited all season long for this much anticipated kiss from Kat and Vincent, and it doesn't happen. So what?
Yeah, and it happens between Alex and Vincent, and of course Kat sees it, and it breaks her heart. I screamed. I'm like, no, right? It's like, why? You know, it's like one of those like why things. But at the same time, it's like, you know, like Paige said, you can't blame her because she lost like the love of her life.
Yeah, it's comfortable to her, you know.
Yeah.
The last time
he kissed her back.
He did. He did.
But how can you not? That must just be, you know, nostalgia flooding back. Imagine kissing the person you were in love with before all of this blew up in your face, basically, literally. And she's kissing you and loving you the way she did back then. You can only, I'm sure he wishes to go back there and prays to go back there. And yes, he loves Kat, but I'm pretty sure he would have rather not gone through all of this and been with Alex than to go through all of that and be with Kat.
So then do you guys think that their love is going to develop in the future?
Alex and yeah, I do. I think it's going to veer off. I think Kat made it very clear that she thinks Vincent needs to see if he loves her. So I think that is going to be a path that is taken, and I do think that Kat is going to go the Evan route.
Yeah. Well, you know, and then Paige and I were talking about this earlier. I think the reason Kat's doing it is the easy route. It's so much easier to, instead of being the girl that didn't get picked, be the girl that pushes away. Right. And we are skipping ahead to the end of the show, but at the very end, her pushing it, he even says so. He's like, you know, why has it been so tough for us? Why do things keep pulling us apart? And part of it is her. And she even says, well, maybe I don't remember how to be close to somebody or love somebody. Just let him in.
Yeah.
You know, but obviously her seeing the kiss is something that threw her off her feet a little bit. And so, again, to avoid being hurt more in the future, it's easier just to say, you know what?
Yeah, and you know, people will say, I think fans will say, you know, well, he saw her kissing Evan that one time, but this is a love. You know, this Evan and her, it was a drunk kiss. Yeah, this is his past, and everybody has a past, but this is a past he didn't choose to let go of, like we said, and now it's back. But I also don't necessarily know if Alex is up for the challenge.
I'm wondering when she's going to find out he's the beast and how she's going to handle that. Granted, she's already loved him for so many years before. I'm sure it's probably very easy for her to accept as well. But, and I was wondering also too if she was going to see him. There was this whole chase down thing going on with her stalker and him, and then here comes Vince.
It was very convenient. She was locked in a closet.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
And I would have liked, if you're going to do the stalker route and you're going to do the cop thing, wrap it up, please. Who was getting pinned for this murder? Because Vincent wiped his whatever. So we're just going to say a mystery man was killed in the basement.
I don't know if he was trying to make it seem like he committed suicide because he laid the gun down right
shot in
now.
his chest.
I mean, you can like.
No, you can.
Okay, you know what? I was just trying to play devil's advocate.
I'm just
but
saying, you know, like, this is what half of what the show is their murders and stuff, and then this is why I think it should have just been left out. There should have just been an easier way to have this chemistry boil up instead of having this chase.
Right. He was pretty scary in the chase. When we got a glimpse, when the guy turned on the little lighter and you saw his face and, of course, his new cat eyes.
Yeah.
Like, whoop, scary. But then he also turned back into Vincent like that. And in the past, in the other episodes, he wasn't able to do that. Even when he was saving Kat from... In the beginning of the episode, when he's carrying her and Vincent shows up, he can't get back to Vincent. That's why he has to run off.
I think that might be a good thing, though, because maybe that shows, first off, situation was handled. Guy was dead. Calm down. She's okay. Alex is okay. Kat wasn't okay. She still wasn't okay, you know?
True.
And in all the other situations, it wasn't okay yet, you know? And I think maybe also... she raises his blood pressure a little more than Alex does. You know, Alex is safe. Alex is comfortable. Alex is the woman he loved. But Kat is the woman who he followed for years, protecting and caring about and worrying about. You know, he didn't follow Alex.
No.
You know, he didn't follow her. He didn't stalk her life. He was hoping she had a husband and kids. But he didn't check.
But maybe that was too painful for him. Even JT said it was too painful for him to go see her. So maybe that's why. But at the same time, he does have that interesting bond / chemistry with Kat that I don't think Alex is going to be able to replace.
Yeah. And the whole beast thing, too. Because Kat knows about the beast and she accepts it. Alex doesn't yet.
Right.
We don't know if she's going to accept it.
I think she will. I honestly think she would definitely accept it. I don't think it'll get to that point. I don't think she's even going to find out.
Right.
I think it's going to be like a clean break.
Yeah.
Maybe not clean, but maybe even she finds he's not who like he's damaged.
Right.
He's sad. He's, you know, he's depressed.
But
he's not that happy guy in the picture that Kat stole.
No, you're right. But at the same time, when you're a woman in love with somebody, and obviously she never let go of him even after he passed away, he could come off, and not that looks matter, but he could have came back with half a face and she still would have put him on a pedestal because at one point in her life, he was her future. He was the man she was going to spend the rest of her life with. At that point, you really don't care.
But she still can't do that. She still can't spend the rest of her life with him.
She doesn't know that.
Knowing, well, he made it very clear that it was dangerous and people couldn't know he was alive.
True.
You can't put your wedding in the paper. You can't have people knowing about him.
Right.
You
But
know?
if you love somebody, isn't that worth the sacrifice?
I agree.
Maybe, but who knows?
I agree.
Making eyes at each other like, girl,
It has to wrap up somewhere. It has to have a, you know, a pretty little bow somewhere on the Alex and Vincent thing.
So, totally off the topic, but this came to my mind. Did anybody else catch when Tess came in, best friend comes into the hospital to visit Kat, and she mentions she had a late night with Joe Bishop?
Yes.
So funny.
And that he was having issues with his wife, but obviously she doesn't want to be the sloppy seconds. But at the same time, I was like, are they like
They've
leading
mentioned this
into-
before, though. They've mentioned that her and Joe, she goes, oh, I took Joe to a wedding once.
Oh,
Remember? She
yeah.
said, I took Joe to a wedding once. He was my date.
yeah.
And I think that was, segueing into this. I think it's something they've been kind of hinting at, and even the way they talk to each other in the precinct, I think it was being hinted at, and now it's just coming to the forefront. And I think maybe he will get divorced, and hopefully we'll see more of Tess. Yeah. I like Tess, and I would like to see more storylines with her.
Yes, I liked her a lot. I liked her a lot in this episode. Not that I don't normally dislike her.
We didn't see much of her, but I did like it.
The cute little section she came in with the balloons and everything.
The John Hughes movies.
Yeah, and I think we will because. And this is getting ahead of myself a little bit, but again, in that same interview I'd read, Sherry Cooper was just mentioning she is Catherine's best friend. Best friends eventually figure the other best friend out. This whole time throughout the first half of the season, she's been hinting that she knows Kat's doing something sneaky, and it's with a guy. She doesn't know who. She can't put her finger on it. She doesn't necessarily buy that it's Evan, I don't think. So she still wants to know who this person is and where Kat's spending all her time. I think by the end of this season, she's going to figure it out.
Yeah. I agree. I think maybe not figure out everything, but figure out who.
Yeah, she may not figure out he's a beast, but she'll maybe figure out Vincent is Vincent, and that's who Kat's attention is kind of gone towards.
I don't doubt it.
That'll be interesting.
It'll be weird.
Yeah.
This I think the second half of the season is really seeming like it's going to be a little crazy. Like after this first episode, they're really like gearing up for an intense second half, I think.
Well, and then you have Evan who's going to JT asking if he wants to, in a sense, partner up with him. Like, you did a cross DNA paper a long time ago, and you came up with some interesting stuff. And JT's probably thinking like, oh, what was I thinking putting that out in the in the forefront like that? Because it's
not only that, you knew about the fact that people were looking for Vincent, and you still put that out when they know you're his friend. They know you're his friend.
Yeah. That was a little dumb to me. I was a little surprised. I'm wondering if he's going to buy into it.
I think so.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about that a little bit, possibly only to save face because of the fact that, the safe route would be to say no, but he can totally change the outcome of the study. Because, Evan's a smart guy, but he doesn't, that's why he needs JT. He doesn't know that side of it, so he can change some results in there. But I don't know.
I don't think he's going to change results. I think he's going to be a scientist and say, just because this person is like this, they are still a person walking around the street. It's just like any other disability or person with a disease or cancer. You don't say this person is a beast or damaged or like you can't fix them, you know? And I think maybe this will lead to them working on a better serum or a way to help Vincent. Maybe Evan doesn't. I know we see him as like kind of a bad guy in the Vincent sense, and I think he's a generally good guy, but I think in the Vincent sense right now he's gunning to get this person who might hurt Kat, and I think JT can maybe sway him to say, let's not get this person, let's help this person.
Right. Did you guys notice though when Evan approached him and one of the things he said is, help me and you'll get to have access to this and to that and the spotlight and blah blah blah, and I feel like I saw a little bit of a from JT when he said that, and I don't know if it's necessarily because he wants notoriety, but at the same time it's expanding his career opportunity as far as maybe further advancing himself.
Well, that's what scientists want, though. They want to make those big discoveries and those big breakthroughs. That's why they're scientists. So I think, that is important to him. My question is, they had a sketch drawn up of JT.
Right.
Why? Is this a sneaky thing by Evan? Does he know that JT is the same guy?
Could be. I know I read that they were going to do Evan was going to start doing a manhunt, if you will, for Vincent. I don't know if it's going to be based upon things with JT, and I know he's going to start suspecting him along the future. So it could be within just working with him, or maybe he does already have that little bit of... He's playing dumb. Because even with Kat, she knows that Evan saw Vincent that night when Evan saved her life. And Evan's like, oh, yeah, you were just on the ground when I found you. I'm like, lies.
Yeah. Now she technically was on the ground by the time he got to her body.
But he saw Vince.
Right.
Yeah.
But who is he to say, no, Kat, this is what happened to you again, when Kat already has kind of supposedly in her work field convinced people she's moved past what happened to her mother, moved past the beast thing, and that she's over it. And he's bringing it back up, and she's saying, I'm done with that, Evan. Like, it's nothing. I had the same thing happen to me. It's just, intense situations, whatever. We think we see things, we don't actually see them. So if he were to say that to her again, especially where she was unconscious.
Yeah. See, but I don't think he's saying that to protect her. I think he's saying it because he's got his own sneaky.
See, I do too.
Yeah,
I do too.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got something going on.
Exactly.
Well, no, that's what I agree. I think he's not telling her to not lead her on to the fact that he saw it again and he's still bringing it up to her. Because I think he knows she knows who the beast is.
Right.
Don't you think?
Yeah. And she's obviously not giving it up, so he's going to find out on his own.
Pretending, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Which was an intense episode.
It was. But I was going to say, something that you brought up is that there was no case. And I was okay with that.
Yeah. Well, there was a case. I mean, it was the stalker thing.
Oh, I guess I didn't really see that as a case.
I think that was their detective work, you know. She's looking him up.
Case of the week.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I'm pretty sure that was the case.
I think I was so wrapped up in the storyline. Honestly, I didn't see it like that because in the past they've kept it separate. Like this is the procedural and this is the love life and there's some parallel.
No, I
theme.
saw it right from the get-go because when her and Tess are looking it up, it's just like, oh, here we go. This is, you know, her detective work. And she went out to help her. She knew there was danger. You know, it was just, it had to be I think personally that was the case of the episode.
What do you guys think about the whole Heather-Evan relationship?
It's over.
Yeah, I mean, I think she still has a crush on him. I think it'll linger because she's obviously younger, but he's so into Kat that for him, he's just kind of like, oh, whoops.
And to be honest, you watched him save your sister's life. Your sister almost died. That's a bad first date for me. I don't know.
But I don't think that even dawned on her, to be honest with you. If you like somebody, like, okay, that happened, but later on in the future, that doesn't stop your feelings if you kind of have a thing for somebody.
And, okay, first off, she's so hungover, right? And she can't help Kat walk and all this stuff, whatever. If that was my sister and all that had happened to her the day before and she almost died, I'd be a wreck the next day. I wouldn't care how hungover I was. I think I'd be just bawling my eyes out for like a whole day.
Yeah.
I honestly do. And she's just like, I just need aspirin and a coffee. And I'm like, your character can't be more annoying.
Right. You're like, shut up and go get some weave because that haircut is killing me.
Right.
I know.
And she's such a pretty girl. And I've seen pictures of her in the past with her hair looking long. I don't understand why they did that to her.
Maybe to make her the annoying sister. I think we've said this before. I think it's just they want her to be annoying.
Yeah.
She is.
Yeah. Like, good job. You did your job.
I mean,
well.
she's the typical little sister. I think she's playing the part well. I think we're supposed to be annoyed at her.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not a little sister, so I don't know.
Me neither.
Yeah. Sorry, sis. Oh, God.
All right. Well, going into a little bit more, I have information. I don't know if I want to go into my predictions just yet. Is there anything that you ladies might want to say before I move on?
No. I think we really covered it. This was a big episode, and I think it just, like I said, was gearing up for what's going to happen. It kind of set the layers for us.
Okay, so let's get into some predictions and talk about what's going to happen, we think.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Ooh. All right, so we saw a little sneak clip of a gentleman who was after the show, but there was a rather nice looking gentleman who was asking Catherine some questions, and she was giving him a little bit of a hard time. He, I believe, is going to be the psychologist that's coming in, trying to get into her head. We don't know how successful he's going to be. I think he's going to think he is. I don't know how much she is. I think it'll toy with her a little bit as far as bringing up emotions that she didn't realize that she had, or maybe issues that she didn't realize she had, that she's going to now have to deal with. That's my opinion on that.
Okay, my opinions or my predictions right now are, like I've said previously, I think Alex and Vincent are going to try it out. And we kind of saw that she's getting naked in front of him. It makes me so mad still that I get why they kissed and why it was so easy, but come on, people. There had to have been a kiss. We're 11 episodes in now with not one kiss.
Yeah.
You can't be heartbroken over a relationship that you've never had. Really.
Yeah.
There was never really anything there. So I really am hoping, I was hoping tonight that he would try and prove her wrong and just grab her and kiss her and be like, it doesn't matter. Right. But I think that's gonna I think that's gonna be how it happens. You know what I mean? I think it's gonna build up and build up and build up, and when it finally breaks, it's gonna be intense.
But do you think that they're gonna get into, him and Alex are gonna get into like a full-blown relationship?
No, but I think they're gonna test it out.
Do you think they're gonna get physical?
Yes.
How physical?
I don't know.
Uh-oh. Your thoughts?
My thoughts, I actually agree with Paige.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to how the whole relationship develops.
Yeah.
All right.
My last bit of information, there is somebody coming on, and forgive me if I mispronounce his name. His name is Sendil Ramamurthy. He was on Heroes, and he's going to be coming on as a ADA, and he's going to start causing a big trouble, especially for Vincent and Kat, because he's coming onto the scene. He's new in the area, and it would be nothing better for his career if he caught the beast. So now he's going to be really going after Vincent. So that's going to bring up a whole new sorts of issues. But we do have to wrap it up. So before we leave, why don't you ladies tell everybody where they can follow you?
Yes. Hi, I'm Paige Sullivan. You can find me on Twitter at PaigeSull and at perfectpage.com.
Ooh.
And I'm Anik Dufour, and you can find me on Twitter at JustAnik.
Yay. Okay, I'm Alikona Bradford. You can follow me at Kiss My Passport or on Facebook and Tumblr under Alikona Bradford. So we had a great show. Thank you guys so much. We're so excited to be back, and hopefully you are too. We will see you next week.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.